Welcome back to the channel, y'all. Today we got another cedar picket fence build that we're going to make a raised planter box with the shelf system underneath. We're going to take these cedar picket fence and we're going to turn it right into this right here. Stay tuned though, you definitely don't want to miss out on this build. Follow along how to do this step by step, but let's get into the build. Alrighty, so we're going to take 4 of our pickets here. We're just going to clean up the edge just so we get that tag and staple removed out of there. By doing so, we're going to then measure out 45 inches on this board. We're going to cut 45 inches, and it should give us enough to make 2 more cuts for 12 3/4 of an inch. And that's going to be your top slat, your bottom slats, your sides, things like that. But let's go ahead and start ripping these 4 boards down, and then we'll show you the next steps and go from there. Alright, so you want to take one of the pickets here. What you want to do is just clean up the edge like we've been doing on all the others. And the next thing is you want to measure out to 14 inches. And you want to do that cut 5 times. There should be enough pieces on this board to do it 5 cuts. And those are going to be part of your bottom slats. But enough of me yapping. Let's go ahead and make these cuts real quick. Alrighty, so after we just cut down one of the boards to 14 inches per slat, we're going to take another picket here. We're going to do 12 3/4 inch, and that's going to allow us to do 3 of those slats up here, which is going to be for the top slats. After that, there's going to be a little bit of room left over where we're going to be able to do the 2 remaining bottom slats that we need to do at 14 inches. So there's going to be a total of 5 cuts here. First 3 are going to be 12 3/4 of an inch. The last 2 is going to be 14 inches. So just remember that when you're cutting down, just so you don't undercut something and make a mistake and have to go out and buy more material. But now let's go ahead and finish up these cuts real quick. Alright, so the next step we got to do is rip 2 of the pickets down to 2 3/8 of an inch on our table saw. So we went on over here, got everything set up. So let's go ahead and start ripping these pickets in half. What they're going to end up doing is allow us to have our legs so we could start assembling the pieces together. Now that we got the width cut down to 2 3/8 of an inch, we are left with the 4 strips there. What we're going to end up doing is cutting these into 32 inches for the length, and that's going to give us that height for our legs and everything like that. So let's go ahead, get these legs cut down to 32 inches and go from there. Alright, now that we've got 3 pickets left, we're going to take 1 more of these. We're going to clean up right on the ends here, make everything nice and squared. What we need to do after that is make 1 more top slat for 12 3/4 of an inch. At that point in time, the rest of the board is going to get ran down to the width of 2 3/8 of an inch. For the last 2 pickets, we need to rip them into the width of 1 3/4 of an inch. But before we can do that, to have that top bracing and the top lips, we got to use one of the pickets and cut 1 more 14-inch bottom shelf. After that, we'll be able to rip this down into 3 separate pieces, just like the other picket, and go from there. So before I turn on the table saw, what you're going to do is take both of these 2 pickets here. You're going to rip it for that 1 3/4 of an inch, but you're going to have 3 strips out each. So you should have a total of 6 strips at the end. With the final 2 strips that are 2 3/8 of an inch, what we end up needing to do is do a couple cuts here. We got to get 2 45-inch length cuts, and then we got to do 2 12 3/4 of an inch. So you should be able to do both cuts on each piece. So you have your 45 here, and then you have your 12 3/4 of an inch. But let's rip this down on the table saw. Then we just got to do 2 more cuts of the 1 3/4 of an inch strips. What we need to do is make two 43-inch cuts. That's going to be our bracing for a shelf, so the bottom slats can fit on that top part there. But I'm not going to record it since I've already recorded quite a bit of the miter saw. Let me get everything cut down and show you how everything should look once we get to this piece before we start assembling. Now that we got everything cut down, we've put on the right hand side all the bottom pieces. We're going to put that off to the side for now. What we're going to do is kind of like the other picket box, is assemble the face frames, put the legs on, and then kind of put the bottom slats, and then eventually we'll come in with the bottom. So we've got all the pieces over here on the left hand side that we need to do. And then on the bottom floor here, it's just the pieces that are going to be for the top lip. But again, we want to make sure everything is correct, because you don't want to have anything looking rough, because ultimately it's still a piece of nice fine piece of furniture that you're going to either have on your deck, a patio, or anything like that. So I want to make sure those miters are real crisp and clean, so you don't want to pre-cut them or anything like that. But let's go ahead and start getting cleaned up in the shop so we can start showing how to assemble everything together. To assemble the face frames, you're going to use some Tape Bond 3 Ultimate Wood Glue Waterproof Exterior Interior. We're just going to do a nice little swivel on the sides, and then we're going to come through with a 1-inch brad nail to hold everything together. But really the glue, once it dries, is going to hold everything nice together. But let's go ahead and get this glue placed. Next thing you want to do is take your brad nail and just shoot about 4 nails into each board. 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Let's go ahead and start gluing the inside edges. You want to do that on the other side too. Make it nice and easy for you. Perfect. Now, when you move them together, you want to make sure you line up the top piece first, just so everything's flush from that point on. So let me get everything kind of situated, and then we'll start shooting these nails in. Next step is to take your 1 3/4 of an inch bottom slat that should be 43 inches. You're going to go ahead and glue it right on this bottom piece, and this is going to help support those bottom slats, which are the other remaining 12 3/4 of an inch. Well, let's go ahead and get this all glued up, shoot quite a few nails through, and keep it moving along. Alright, next step is, now that we got everything assembled on the front and the sides, it's starting to look great. We got those supports on inside the middle. What you want to end up doing is putting some glue right on the seams. Next thing you want to do is just drill holes about 2 inches in the box. Really, that's going to allow the the water to run out somewhere. So let's go ahead and just shoot all these in real quick. Next thing I'm going to do is add some kind of supports on the inside, just 1 on each side. Just going to glue on the back end here. Shoot with the nails, probably about 3 or 4, maybe 2 up there, 2 on the bottom. So a total of 8 screws. But let's go ahead and get that shot up, and then we'll show you how to start assembling the bottom of this garden bed. All right, to start assembling the bottom and make it easy, I made 4-inch supports blocks for both sides. I'm going to glue the ends of each board with some glue again. Push the ends together, really make sure it's nice and snug so there's no gap. And we're just going to shoot the nails in the corners. But let's go on ahead and get that going for it. To do the sides, you're just going to go real easy, small strip of glue on the ends. And just get your support pieces back up, just make it easy for you. And now, put them on just like that. And then you're just going to shoot them in with your nail gun again. Now that we got everything assembled, especially the frame on the bottom, we're just going to take our glue again, just hit it right on the seams here, and same on the other side, and then we're just going to go ahead and shoot our nails right through. But let's go ahead and get that going now. Alright, this thing is turning out great. I know I hit it just with a quick sand. Really, I don't charge clients for that, and I'm not doing a precise sanding, but at least clean it up a little bit since it is rough lumber. Just give that extra, you know, touch to the project. But as you can see, I measured out to find out how long this piece is. I'm just going to add 5/8 to the end and do that for both sides, and then we just got to do the ends. So let's go rip these 45 degrees on the miter saw. Now that we got the 45 degrees cut on the 1 3/4 board, we're just going to take our glue right down the seams here, and then we're just going to come on ahead and hit the nail gun every little bit just to make sure that's holding nice and snug. That's a wrap on the video here today. Go ahead and make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. But stay tuned for more content and getting back to that house build here soon.